Hello everyone, I know it's been a while. In case I sound a little bit weird, I have a bit of a cold, so please don't mind it. It's winter, it's rough. Look, I made something. This summer I was part of a black Muslim woman artist group called Habasooda, and I will let the director talk about it a little bit more since she knows how to explain it more proper than I can.
Let me just give you a briefing on Habasooda. So it started off as just like a collective of sharing the richness of the Muslim experience, video series, things like that. And then we got a grant from the Ontario Trillium Funds to be able to create this workshop series for emerging Black Muslim women artists. And the workshops in itself, like honestly, when I saw all the girls together and they were just laughing and being themselves and creating that community with the workshop facilitator, it's just brought honestly tears to my eyes. Like it's just been really beautiful to see this being cultivated in our community. So I'm just really happy, and none of this would be possible without the will of Allah. So alhamdulillah, we're just really grateful for this to happen.
So during my time at Habasooda, I met a lot of amazing young Muslim women who are all artists, and they created some amazing stuff at the gallery. And I am so glad, I'm so honored to meet them because they're just awesome. I love you guys. But yeah, they were amazing. We got to meet each other. We met each other like weekly during the summer, like getting to know each other. We went to the Aga Khan Museum. We went to the Mosques Festival on Edmonton. It was my first time flying in a plane for 10 years, which was kind of scary. But we did a lot of cool stuff. We really bonded during the time in the summer. I think that if you want to be an artist, sign up for stuff and just get to know people because you never know. And then we were tasked to create a piece for a gallery that would be happening in January, encompassing how we are feeling about what's going on in the world right now. This was pretty US mess. And just like an art piece that kind of reflects how we are dealing with it. So for me, because mental health for me has been a big thing the past few years, I really wanted to create something that tells a story that I feel like is something that I am like happy with creating. The piece right here is 3D printed through the library, the Toronto Public Library. When we were told to make an art piece, I was kind of confused because I had a lot of ideas that I wanted to do, but for a lot of these ideas I didn't have enough time to actually like learn. Like I was thinking to do something interactive, like those interactive art displays or like interactive art thingies, but I didn't know how to achieve that. I thought I have 2 months to actually get into like the mindset of making something if I wanted to do it something interactive. I've never done it, so it was kind of scary. I knew that once school started, I wouldn't have been able to dedicate a lot of time into the thing that I wanted to do, especially if it's something new that I'm learning. So I scrapped that idea, and then I was like, I could probably paint, but I've never painted before. And my ideal idea of painting was making something that's like from the Renaissance time period level painting, and I've never done it. Like I can barely draw, so I scrapped that idea. And then I was like, what else can I do that's within my skill set that I would still be able to do besides university? And then I was like, I could make something out of clay because I know how to 3D model. I know how to model in ZBrush, and it's basically the same thing, right? I'm happy I didn't spend money on clay. It would have been very frustrating to not be able to get the concept of modeling with clay because 3D modeling is already hard enough. So modeling with clay is a lot of work as well, especially since anatomy is a tough thing to learn. But then I was like, let me just create something. And I was like, I like what I'm doing with 3D modeling, but what can I use to make it physical? And I was like, I should 3D print. And I was like, cool. I don't have a 3D printer, but at that time I was like, I'll figure it out where to get the 3D printer from, so I don't care. So then the question was, what should I model? I was thinking of creating like a meteor coming out of a frame. I was thinking of a half butterfly coming out of a frame. Kind of like the butterfly would represent like the beauty the world would become and the hope, and then the other half that's like inside the frame would be like the darkness, kind of similar like what I've did here. but it's like the butterfly that's like hidden is still the darkness, but it's gonna come out and it's gonna become beautiful. Just like we're gonna hope that the future would be better. So that was the initial idea. The meteor, I was thinking of like a meteor that's shooting out of the frame. As you can see, I liked frames for some reason. So a meteor shooting out of the frame. But then I was like, what does a meteor represent? Meteors represents destruction. So I was like, I don't think it will be a good representation of what I wanted to do. So then I was tired. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt low. I'll figure it out, I guess. And this was around the time that I wanted to cross stitch on a jean jacket. And I was looking for some paintings. I was like, I want to do a Renaissance paintings on a jean jacket. And I was like, cool. Let me just look at some pictures. And then I saw like the painting, the creation of Adam, where God and Adam are like almost touching their fingers. And I was like, this is a beautiful painting. And I could turn it into something that I think would be a good thing. How can I turn this into my piece? So what I did, I grabbed some metahumans. I grabbed their hands only. I like deleted the whole body and stuff, sorry, just in case. I went into ZBrush. I modeled the base because I wanted to have like a wavy feeling, like drowning in darkness, kind of, that's what it represents. And then I was like, I don't know how big the base should be because I don't have a frame. I was walking around the like downtown Toronto one day, and I went to Michael's and I was like, ugh, I need some cross-stitching supplies like I always do. I was walking around, I saw a clearest section, and I was like, let me see what they have. And I saw this frame. And I was like, dang, that's the exact frame that I need. And I bought it for like $9, and I was like, wow, good price. I bought the frame, I measured it, I made sure that the base in ZBrush would be the same size as the base of the frame. So then when I modeled it, I was done. I put the frame in a place where it looked like dramatic or looked good or whatever. And I was happy with how it turned out. I then went to the Toronto Public Library. I spoke to the technician from the Digital Innovation Hub, that's what it's called. I spoke to the guy. I'm like, hey, I want to 3D print this because I'm going to be in a gallery. And he's like, and that's a big piece. So we had to make sure that cutting up the piece so it fits in a printer wouldn't have too many cuts and too many weak points, because it was originally supposed to be hung, and like the hand that's covered in gems would like float in the air. So we had to make sure that there weren't too many weak points and that we fortified the weak points. I had to go back and forth many times, and he would look at the piece and he would help me and be like, hey, maybe you can change up this. When the print was done for the base, he was talking about how like it would warp. When I told him that I'm gonna hang up the hand and that it was supposed to be floating, he's like, because the point of the finger is so small, there's a risk that if we cut it right there, that it's going to fall. Like, that's a major weak point. And I'm like, okay, how can we make sure that that weak point is going to be fortified and that is going to be strong enough to hold the weight of the hand? And he's like, there's two options. First option, I don't know what he said, I forgot. So then we went with the second option. So the second option was making sure there's like holes that are model holes inside the fingers. And then the holes, I would buy metal rods, like 2mm rods, to put inside of the fingers so that it would connect and to make sure that it would be stronger. So I did that. I bought the metal rods, I modeled the holes, and then we printed it out. So when everything was printed, which was during the summer, I printed everything out in the summer. After the semester was finished, after exams, somewhere in December, I started sanding, painting, gluing, all that good stuff together. So I started gluing everything together, the base, the hands, the fingers. I put the rods in between everywhere. So I glued it all together. I waited for like 2 days, a day, 24 hours to make sure that it's all glued together. As a test, I like grabbed the hand and I just like, and it was all good. I was surprised. After that, it was time for sanding. Sanding, I never want to do it again. I sanded the whole thing ish because I thought I don't want to sand. I started sanding and I was like, this is fine. It created a lot of microplastics and I was like, oh, this looks good. This means I'm doing something. And then each time I would sand, nothing would get smooth, or it would take like a long time for it to get smooth. And at one point I was like, I'm tired and I didn't want to smooth it anymore. So like the top, since that's gonna be covered by gems, I was like, I don't care anymore. So I went to the bottom, and in the bottom I put a lot of glue on like the base to make sure that was like sticking to each other, because one side was like slided off the hand and then the other one was like slided out. So it took like a long time to make it smooth, which I didn't have the time for. Now there's like imperfections in it, which I'm not gonna show you because that's embarrassing. I didn't want to sand anymore. I was tired. Never mind, I'm gonna stop. I then decided to add wood filler. Wood filler was the best part. Was the best. I love wood filling. It's like the texture of the filler is like nice and cold. Like this whole experience was so ethereal, if that's the word. I didn't need wood filler in hindsight. I started off filling like the bigger holes, and then I was like, this is nice. And then I did the whole hand, which then caused me to have to sand the whole thing again, which I did like haphazardly. So I don't know if it was like a win, choose. It gave me some textures, which is interesting, but I would rather have it like all smooth and clean and nice. And after the wood filler, after the sanding, it was time to start spray painting, put primer on it. In this footage, the backyard looks rough because it is rough. Recently ish moved, and I didn't get the chance to like work on the backyard yet. So I've got plans, I got concepts of a plan that I want to execute this summer. I asked my brother to record me spray painting, and he is like, no, I want to spray paint. I'm like, sure, go for it, I'll record you. So he does a tiny piece, and he's like, I'm tired, I'll just go back to recording you. And I said, sure, record me. 30 seconds later, he puts it on the ground, and he's like, I'm not gonna record you anymore, I'm tired. And then he started to have a staring match with the cat, with the neighbor's cat, and he's just like standing there looking at the neighbor's cat. And I'm like, I thought you were recording me. And he's like, nah, I got tired. First set of primer done. Second set, I did it off camera because I just wanted to get like done quickly. I let that dry for a day. I was so excited to try out the blackest paint. Currently, I believe it's Muzu Black. Some say it's a black 4.0, but black 4.0 is $80, and I'm not gonna spend $80 on the blackest paint. So I tested it out on some supplies that I had laying around to see how black it would get. I was really hoping that it would turn things into a void. Sadly, it didn't. Like, it is a very, very rich black, but the way YouTubers, I think, edit their images, it's not a void. Like, they would edit and color code their videos to a point where it looks like a void on camera, but it's not. It is an extremely rich black for sure. You can see the difference between a primer and like the Muzu Black once it dries, but it's not a void. But it's not the way YouTubers make it seem like it is. It's a lie. Like, this is just regular lighting right now. This is like base, like no color coding, just iPhone camera, and that's how it looks like, and it doesn't look like a void. So to save time, I used 2 layers of blackest paint, with a paintbrush, and then the last layer I used a airbrush. So I used an airbrush to give it like that velvety feel. Like, so excited to see how it's gonna turn out. And then it was time for putting on gems. As I say many times, it is important to support local businesses, but I didn't, and I didn't want to in this instant. There is this store in downtown that sells gems, and she had these exact gems. Wow, these are the exact ones that I need. And she was selling them in like these little tiny packages. I went to the cashier. I was like, oh, these are gems that I would like to buy in bulk. Because she was selling them like 12 pieces for $20. That's insane. And she's like, how much do you need? And I said, I would like, on AliExpress, I saw that the bags were, like the smallest bag was like 1,040 or like 1,400. No, 1,040 for like the smallest bag they had. And I'm like, I don't think that's enough for what I need. So at least I would like to get 3 times 1,040. How much is 1,040? That's $80. The tiny bag, like this is what 1,040 looks like. This is 1,040 bag. So I bought 6 bags of 20,000 gems for $6 each. So it was time to finally put the gems on the hand. And you want to know how I did it? I did one by one. I was hoping that it would take me one afternoon or maybe 2 8-hour days at most, but it ended up being 7-10-hour days. It is currently 8 p.m. This is how much I've done so far. I've done this part and then I've finished it. I started off as making like the nice pattern, like you see those people that like bejewel the tumbler, like the water bottles. I wanted to have like a nice pattern like them. But at one point I was like, I'm tired. Once I was doing the top, I was like, I'm tired. I'm not gonna do the pattern anymore. So I threw it out of the window and I just went with the flow. I watched a lot of shows, a lot of YouTube videos, and it was very therapeutic. After exams were done, I was like, I don't have to worry about anything anymore. It's just very chill. Orange and blue gems, which I'm gonna use as like my color, and I'll put it in there as like a signature. That's how it turned out. I will let past me talk about what this art piece means to me.
Welcome everyone. My name is Fatima, and I made the big shiny piece over there with the hands. The inspiration came from like the painting, the Michelangelo painting, where like God and Adam are like touching hands. And I saw that piece and I was like, wow, the way I see it is God creating life. So basically Allah creating us, like us. We are here today, alhamdulillah, all together. And I thought, how can I interpret this piece to something that I really care about, which is currently mental health. The two hands, there's like 2 parts to it. There's like the top hand where it's like shiny, and then the bottom hand that's dark. That I painted it with the blackest paint because I like to try trendy stuff. So to me, it represented Allah or someone you trust or someone you care about helping you and supporting you through tough times, and having someone that you can lean on, trust on, supporting you, getting you out of the darkness that you currently are going through or whatever it is. For me, because I went through like some tough times, it was my family who was like really an anchor that helped me be where I am today. If it wasn't for them, I don't know, it would have been like longer. But having someone that you can trust and you can really rely on, you can just talk to, feel comfortable, all that kind of stuff to me is very important. Doesn't have to be someone who is like from the same ethnicity, doesn't have to be someone from the same religion, just someone that you are comfortable with, that you can talk to and just be you with. So that's what my piece is about. I am so happy that I created this piece. It really went out of my comfort zone. I do a lot of digital art, a lot of like visual effect stuff,
but being able to print it out and like actually work on it with my hands was really, really interesting.
And again, I wanted to thank Habasooda for creating this amazing space. I want to thank the girls that are part of this program, for the support that they gave me, and like being thankful that I can call them my friends and sisters. I want to thank everyone who came out to the gallery and everyone who supported me and us as like artists. Please subscribe. Please be on the lookout for more videos, and I'll see you in the next time. Bye.